what you've been going through in terms of losing your best friend. But before we get into that, let's kind of give our listeners some background on you. Can you tell them who you are? Maybe give them an overview of your podcast, and yeah, we'll start there.
Okay. I'm Yolanda Varnado. I'm from Mississippi, McComb, Mississippi. I have three children. I've been married for 17 years. Um, my life has been a big roller coaster. I've I started to years ago to see what was wrong. Like, you know, I went from how like you're a kid and then you go to a teenage years and then you go to adult years and you're not happy anymore. Like all of a sudden it's like why I'm not the same little girl I was when I was in high school. Why I'm not the little cheery girl like I was in high school, laughing and being goofy with everybody. And I'm like it's like a big surprise, like as in I'm not happy anymore. And it wasn't like I hated I don't know if it was I hated myself or anyway, I was trying to find something me. It could have been just me. I may have lost myself trying to find somebody else. And you know how they tell you to when your first love is you. I didn't even love myself for a long time. It took 42, maybe 42 years. Yeah. I'm gonna say that because I'm not gonna say a little kid. Um as a little kid, my mom passed away when I was 11, and like when he had my mama's funeral, I like straight. I didn't even look at my mama's body. I buried myself in my father's jacket, and I cried, and I could because I said I wasn't gonna see her anymore. But at the same time, I hated her. And then people were like, how can you hate your mom? Well, I have my she I have we have our reasons. I have my reasons why I hated my mom. I'm not gonna get into that. But when my grandmother said, um, after they're been buried or whatever, you don't cry anymore. So I shut it out. I shut her out of my head. You know how people say they have dreams about their mom? A certain person that passed away or whatever. I didn't have any dreams about her. I didn't think about her. I completely shut her out like she didn't even exist. And then um, when my grandmother died, the same thing because I didn't know how to do it. So I shut her out. I shut that one out. Then my grandfather, then I shut him out. And then it was the day that my brother passed away. I watched him pass away. I put my hand on his chest. I was there watching him struggle to breathe or whatever. And I didn't know what to do. I was on after his funeral. I was on all type of medicine, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to mourn my brother. Anything. I just cried and I did everything to try to avoid it. And the day my best friend passed away, or got killed or murdered, y'all, I just shut the whole everything just shut down. And somebody said, well, you know what? Um, you got to learn how to mourn. I didn't know how to do that. I think with me it was the death of my family members and certain things that they brought into my life. I just shut everything that out. So after that, I shut everybody out, even my kids, my husband. All I did was work, and it was like I was just there. I was there in body, not spirit. And it once when someone teaches you or tell you how to try to heal yourself or how to heal yourself. Not even church could do it. Not e- Nothing could help me. Absolutely nothing. Once I had to, and I was in church. I was like in church. I was like everybody was like, give it to God, and I never felt it. I was trying to feel them. I would ask for how do people feel God? How do people, are they faking this or whatever? What is it about me that I feel so different? Why I can't feel him? Where is he when I need him? Where is where is him? Where is God? That's where I was at that moment. Why am I here? Why do I even exist? I wanted to die. Like, seriously. I didn't care anymore. I stopped eating. Like, I would, those juices, those naked juices, that's all I would have once a day after my best friend passed away. This was like, I'm not saying my family is a bad, that I love my family. My family are like my world now. And that's what I should have seen a long time ago, but I didn't because I couldn't, because I was blocking so much out that I wouldn't let nobody in. And once that my best friend that got killed, y'all, it was over with for me. So for me to start where I started in 2020, because she got killed in August 19th, and 2020 is when I really started. That's when, like they said, COVID. But I was still working because where I work we don't close, only for Christmas. But um I started. I went to. I even was in. I was in a class. I was doing all kinds of stuff to try to get myself up. And when Robin said, and this is what she said. She said, and I say this to everybody. I said, well, people always tell you to give it to God, but every time I give it to him, it's like it never go away. She said, God looking at you like, what you want me to do with it? Why you not working? You gonna have to work for yourself. You're gonna have to find a way, Yolanda, and take all that and heal yourself. You gotta take that as a lesson. Everything that happened to you is a lesson. And it could be you depending on those people. You needed to start depending on yourself so you can start loving Yolanda and start healing Yolanda and start loving life and stop blocking everybody out and start letting people in at the same time loving yourself. If you can't do that, then you're just gonna be there. And that's where I was. I was just there. And so um once I started on my journey, y'all, it's been, I think it was like the year after I started. Once it came around in August, the whole month of August, I cried because I was thinking about, this is my brother's birthday month, and then my best friend got killed, so I cried the whole month. And then it's been rocky. The first year was rocky for me, and then the second year, I started. I said I'm gonna go do. I had to find something. I had to just let everybody go for a minute and just work on me. And I was trying to look, I'm gonna tell y'all this is what I was doing. The wrong thing to do is to try to help yourself heal and then try to help somebody else heal and then try to help somebody else heal. You got to start healing yourself first, and then you can bring people in. Well, what I didn't know that when I was doing that, everybody emotion that I work with, everybody emotion, energy, and all that I was trying to help was killing me. It was draining me, and so that's why I had to start detaching myself from people. And so when I detach myself from people, I can start working more and more and more on me. And then um this is where I began to start writing stuff. I know when we was at the event up there in Wisconsin, the little stuff I wrote on the chalkboard, that's my stuff. That wasn't stuff that was stuff that was coming to my head and I was writing down I was actually typing it in my phone. My notes is full of stuff. And so I was just writing it down. And this is leading me up to my podcast. And when I was writing it down, I also put it on Facebook and Instagram. And this one lady was like, she saw me in the store one day and she was like, you know what? You need to do a podcast. I was like, okay. At that time, y'all, I didn't know what the heck a podcast was. And so I was like, what is that? And so I asked someone what was a podcast, and they was like, oh, well, you just talking like you talking on radio, I said, okay. I was like, I will one day. And I never did until like this year, my first podcast when I came up there to Wisconsin. And Robin was like, Robin said, you can start your podcast here, you by yourself. You don't have nobody, talking to you, whatever. But before the podcast started, I was doing videos. Like I said, I was still writing stuff down. I even had it Google. I think it's Google. Anyway, I was putting notes on Google also. And I was even, my daughter needed stories for English. I was writing for her. And so it was in what she didn't know and what the teacher didn't know, it was about me. And so um when every time I would write something or every time I said something, I always send it to Robin. I always send it to my cousins or somebody that know what I was going through. And it was like, you gotta do something with yourself. Besides you can heal people through your podcast, you can heal people through your quotes. You need to start, doing more. And I started that when I got to Wisconsin. I was on the drive, y'all, on the drive to Wisconsin. I said, Robin, why don't we do a podcast together? And she said, okay, well, we can get together and do that. And then I said, like, okay. Then we got to the room. I said, I think I might do it by myself. She said, you know what? You should. And then I've been going from there, y'all. I just love it. I missed 2 weeks because of the vacationing, but y'all, I don't care if I asked my husband, I said, I wonder who listened to my podcast. He was like, why? And I was like, I just wonder. He said, should it matter? He said, as long as if you just helping one person, you're doing a good job. So I was like, yeah, you're right. Duh, me. And I love it, y'all. It's just something I never thought that I would do in my entire life, to make a podcast to help women um with struggles, because we all struggle. A lot of us struggle. And we don't, it's a lot of women out there that don't want to tell about their struggles. And so now, hearing my struggles, now a lot of women come to me out of nowhere, y'all, coming to the store and say, girl, I'm so glad I heard I seen your video and I listened to it and I listened to it over and over. You're helping me. And I love it. Just keep them coming. So I'm like, wow, I didn't think I could do that. Never thought that in a million years I would do something like that. It's been amazing since Wisconsin, for real. Like, I mean, I love it. Mhm.
No, I agree. It's well, first of all, thank you for coming to Heal and Chill and
You're
blessing us
welcome.
with your quotes and your story, and coming with Miss Robin Bloom. And I agree, right? I think it's so amazing when you can finally take what you've learned in healing and share it and see the effect that it has on people, because then you know that what you went through wasn't in vain. Um, I do think that there's a couple of things that you said that stood out, right? Like when your mother passed away, your grandmother said, when you bury her, you're done grieving. And then we saw that when other folks died, your brother, your friend, your grandmother, you didn't know how to grieve because you were taught wrong. So then you had to kind of unlearn, and you just kind of reciprocated that pattern. And I
Right.
think it's so important that we teach people right. And I'm sure your grandma was telling you what she learned,
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
right.
Because where she comes from, you ain't got time for all of that.
No, you didn't.
Stuff got to be done. You got to move on. We don't got time to be all depressed, right? But
Right.
it's not healthy,
Not at all.
right? And I think that a lot of us in our community are taught that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Like we say stuff like
Ain't
crying
nobody
ain't gonna solve
confident.
it. We say ain't nobody got time for that. We say crying ain't gonna solve it. We say once the funeral is done, it's over. There's all kinds of sayings that we say, but they're just not true.
Mm-mm. Well, I didn't. I
I think Miss Yolanda.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. When my
Okay. So we're gonna get this figured out. But yeah, I think I'm also one of them people where I bury and bury and bury as well. And we have definitely talked about that on the podcast where, everything that we do was learned behavior. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
That you can't
Bridget always says it's the file, right? It always goes back to that file in your head.
listen. So once you know that once you realize that, oh, this is not the right way for me to do this, and that is a beautiful part to be like, okay, well, now I have to relearn and adjust because this what I know to be true is not serving me. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm glad we kind of in this space right now because we're actually about to head to our very first break. So when we come back, we're going to continue to talk with Miss Yolanda from the Beautiful Struggle podcast and about her journey and about her podcast. So thank you all for listening. And please make sure to stay tuned. My throat. Make sure you stay tuned to Brunch with Besties, and we will be right back very shortly.
I knew she was.
Welcome back to Brunch with Bestie show. We are here with Yolanda from Beautiful Struggle, and we were just talking about how sometimes we have different cycles and patterns that we are taught in our family that we have to unlearn. Yolanda, I was wondering, can you tell us, like, how do you define beautiful struggle?
I love the word beautiful, but it's just something that I love to call people beautiful. And my struggle has been for the past 2 years. I'm gonna say this is the struggle. It was ugly, but the past 2 years has been beautiful because I learned myself. I learned how to like you said, unlearn a lot of stuff that I have learned in the past, and it's just been it's me telling people or women. I'm saying me trying to teach women or assist women to learn to love themselves and learn to cope with the stuff that I like, their struggles, and stop making those struggles being ugly, make them beautiful. Learn to turn them from being those ugly struggles to beautiful struggles, meaning to to learn to accept what you cannot change. And that's what we have to do. And I've been trying and trying to do this for like years, to learn to unlearn a lot of stuff that I was taught. And now it's at the point of learning to accept it, accept all the stuff that I've been through, accept the 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 trauma, the let me see, the things that we were taught that were not true, the things that we were taught that we have to unlearn as adults, because when you're a child, you're like a sponge. You absorb so much, and everything that's taught to you, you think it's so true. And then once you get older and you start learning more, you get wiser, and then you know that you would like we would say, like Robin would say, you know better, you do better. And every struggle that I went through, everything that I went through as a young woman, as a young child to a young woman, and to a older woman, it's beautiful. And they were teachable moments. You know, I teach my, like, how they say you don't get instructions on how to teach your kids to take care of themselves. I didn't know how to take care of myself. So now I know how to take care of myself. So I try to teach my girls, and I try to teach my son. I even try to teach my husband how to take care of himself. So it's like, you know, beautiful. Everything is beautiful now to me. And everything used to be ugly. My life was ugly. I was ugly. Everything I did was ugly. I hated myself. Everything was just ugly. Now I see a totally different. It's like I took the blindfolds are gone, and I see life is beautiful, and that's why I call it beautiful struggle, because everything was a struggle, and it was beautiful because it taught me a lot.
I love the change in perspective, right? Because now you're saying I'm looking at the exact same situation and I'm choosing to grow from it. I'm choosing to learn from it. And that's where the beauty is. But the pain is
Right,
ugly,
the
right? The
pain is
trauma is
ugly.
ugly, right? It hurts. The impact is there. I may have to carry some things with me, but if I choose to see the beauty in it, then I can grow, then I can evolve, then I can
Yeah.
learn, then I can serve other women or other people. So now I love the title because there is a lot of beauty in struggle. I heard
Right.
Jake say this. He was talking about timing and how a lot of people don't want to invest time. And he was saying how, people can win the lottery and get rich quick, but wealthy people, it was the time that allowed them to learn the grit and the struggle to
Right.
obtain the wealth, but then also to maintain wealth. And a lot of times without that struggle, we're not sustainable. So I
Hmm.
agree that there is beauty in the struggle. No one likes it.
No, no,
We just
no.
want the results.
Yeah,
Right.
especially in today's world, we just see the outcome, but we don't see the process of it
Right.
all.
Mm-mm.
Um,
And
and no, go ahead, Miss Yolanda.
the thing about healing, people don't get it, is that it takes time, because it took time for you to get where you are. So it's going to have to take time to get better, and it's going to take time for that healing. And they want to, this week I want to be this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this week, and I'm going to be healed. No, 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 it don't work like that. Even though when you overcome that past, you have overcome that struggle, you still gonna have struggles in the future. You still gonna have struggles now in the present, and you got to learn how to cope with those struggles. You got to learn how to deal with those, and people don't get that. And I don't understand. I mean, well, I don't. I understand now, because that's how I was. But people will give up on their journey so quick because they're not where they want to be. And the key to healing, a spiritual, and a self-care or any kind of journey is patience with yourself. And if you don't have patience with yourself, you're not gonna get anywhere. You're gonna continue to quit.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like you're talking to me because I feel like, you
I
know,
know, me too. Get her off, Chanel. She attacking us. First rabbit.
Completely honest, and that is how it goes, Miss Yolanda, where you know you're in your healing journey or whatever journey you're on, your spiritual journey or whatever. And I know for me, I definitely felt moments where I was just like, okay, well, you know, it's not going the way I thought it should go, or it's not looking how I thought it should look, or, you know, I feel like I'm not getting anywhere and I just want it to be done. Like, okay, I don't want to do this no more. I'm done healing. Like, I'm out. Like, I just want to be over it. So I completely agree with that. But you said the key word, you have to be patient with yourself to see it through. And it's not going to be every day is going to be like rainbows and unicorns. You're going to have some low days. It's going to be some high days. It's going to be days where you want to quit, but you don't stop. You keep going and you have patience. So that's a word. People, if you're listening, our besties listening, pay attention to that point because it's beautiful once you stay the course. But it's tough. And you know, we talk about healing all the time, and I don't want people to make it seem like, you know, Sherry Renee and I don't want us to feel like it's easy, because I think we say it all the time. This is not easy work. It's not. There are times it hurts. We did a whole episode on that. Healing hurts, and it does. And there are bright spots in healing, but it's a lot of work. And going through this and, you know, talking about it on the podcast and meeting people like yourself and Robin, we all have backgrounds and stories and traumas and, you know, things that we were holding on to. And, you know, what was beautiful at the Heal and Chill event, where that was a beautiful opportunity for us to just get some stuff out. I mean, I got out stuff that I was holding on forever that, you know, my mom didn't know about, my sister didn't know about. So it's just like unlearning, man. I think we're starting a really great conversation here, but unlearning and being patient with yourself.
Right.
I really love that you said, you know, you didn't get traumatized. Like, that took time. So it's going to take you time to heal, because we'll be in a whole toxic relationship for 10, 20 years and then be like, all right, I'll heal for 6 months.
Yeah.
No, don't worry like that.
Right. Like, we can't
Because
undo.
you still hold on. You still hold on. I still held on to a relationship that was 20 years ago. Well, I'm gonna say right now it was 23. But when my daughter turned 20, I was still holding on to her, you know, that relationship I had with her dad for 20 years, y'all. 20 years. It took me 20 years to just sit there and say, I forgive you, because you know, like I said, you have to unlearn what you were taught. Or I didn't know that forgiveness was for me, and you didn't have to get the other person end of the apology. You have to forgive that person for you, not for them, because that's one thing that's the first thing I had to learn, was to forgive people for you and not for them. And we'll hold a grudge for 30 years. We'll hold a grudge for 30 years for somebody, and we're trying to figure out what's wrong with us. It's that grudge you're holding on for that person. It'll kill you physically and mentally. It will.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely correct and true. And I think I made a post about this, and it was like, forgiveness means I accept what happened. I don't think, or I don't wish that it would change, and I used it to make me better, right?
Right.
You know what? Like, going back to what you said before about acceptance, I think it's hard to forgive when you don't accept. You know, but when you're like, you know what, this did happen. What, you know, it is what it is.
You can't go back to it.
I can't go back and change it. But what am I going to do differently going forward? Right? And what do I know now that I didn't know before?
Exactly. That's it.
Right? But I think that was my issue too, where it's like I would kind of make excuses for whatever happened. Like, oh, they didn't mean it. They know no better, you know, because you don't want to accept. But it's like, no, you got to accept that it is what it is, so that you can actually change and
Right.
grow. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in a cycle
Mm-hmm. Over and
over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, whole word. That's
over.
good. Yes, but that and that's amazing. And very true. But that also made me think about Miss Yolanda as you were talking. So what was like your rock bottom for you to be like, okay, everything that I know is not serving me. Everything that I've been taught is not helping me. This ain't it. Like something's got to shake. Something has to change. So what was that rock bottom like for you?
My best friend got killed, and I keep going back to that. All those people that passed away were people I depended on,
Mm.
and I threw them away. But best friend, I couldn't just like push her back, and I did because I shut everybody out. And when you depending on someone, or when you trying to, let me see how I can put this. When you don't love yourself, and when you don't accept yourself, and you trying to get it from somebody else, you lose yourself. You through all those years, everybody had a part of me. I didn't have myself. Just, and when she passed away, I kind of lost it, y'all. It was like, what do I do next? I was like a little kid. Um, I couldn't get my way. It's like, when a kid get their way, they just have a fit. I just shut out everybody. And y'all, this room, I stayed in my room the whole month of December. Like, I I, I know the whole month of December. I cried and 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 I cried, and I'm talking about I cried every day. It was I'm okay. I'm like 30 days of crying, y'all. 30 days of crying. I just couldn't cry no more. It's like I told my husband that's why my eyes are so dry now. I done cried all my tears out back in December. But I cried, y'all, so much till he didn't know what to do. My kids was like, my mom gonna die. Y'all went from I'm gonna say 200 to like 160 something at that time because I just stopped eating. I stopped everything, and it was just that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have anybody. That's how I felt, and because I felt like my whole life, it was like I was dependent on people. I was a dependent person. I was a dependent. I had to have somebody there for me. I was dependent on too much, and I didn't depend on myself. It was me. I didn't trust me because I don't even know what happened along the way. I'm still trying to figure that out. Why didn't I trust or depend on myself? I depended on everybody else. And I don't know. I still don't know. I don't have a clue because I'm trying to, how you try to figure some stuff out. Like my mom passed away, what was going on with her. And I was trying to figure out, was it that, her pain and the stuff that she went through, was that manifested in me? Did I get a part of her? And because I noticed that she was the type when I was young. Why she wanted to be, she needed somebody there, and I needed somebody there, and I didn't abandonment maybe because I know my mom passed away. Then my dad didn't, he stayed with his wife. It could have been all of that. I think it was abandonment issues, and I needed somebody there, and all those people that was like there 100% before my family. They were there. My brother, my grandfather, and my best friend, my grandmother, they were there, and I needed somebody to hold on to. It was like a crutch. You know how you break your leg, you need a crutch to walk with, and that they were my crutch, and especially that best friend of my brother. And when he passed away, it was like I was going. I was slowly falling, but when it came to her, y'all, it was like I was burying myself. I might as well just die. I wanted to go with her because that's all I felt like I had. Even though I've been married at that time, I was for 15 years. I wanted to go with her. My kids. I didn't care about my kids. I didn't care about nobody there that existed around after them. And it was like I needed them. And then it wasn't them that I needed. It was Yolanda that I needed. And once I started finding that girl in that mirror, that's when everything started coming to me. and working so wonderful on me. And I just had to I I had to stop depending on people. That was my issue. I was depending on everybody else to show me love, and they weren't giving me the love that I needed. So I had to find it in myself. And that's what my rock bottom hit was. I was uh, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Why I couldn't. Why I had a whole family here and I ain't feeling love. Why everybody that passed away, it's like they sucked my soul with them. And then it was like, what was wrong with me? And once I dug deep down in, and something inside of me said, girl, if your ass don't stop and look at yourself in that mirror and start loving that person in that mirror, you're gonna keep going down, because there is nobody on this earth can love you like yourself. And so that's where I started. The that was my rock bottom. It was always depending on somebody else to give me love. And can't nobody give you love like you can give yourself. At the end of the day, you're born by yourself, you're gonna die by yourself. So you got to find it in there between that living to love yourself and to stop trying to depend on somebody else's love for it. You know what I'm saying? But that's my rock bottom hit was I did not love myself at all. So I was depending on everybody else's love to try to cheer me up. That didn't work.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying. I think that a lot of times we forget that we have us, you know, because we always want like people to rock with us, relationships and jobs and kids and whatever.
Right.
At the end of the day, all you really got is you,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
I know that when your friend died, it was unfortunate, right? It was unexpected. It sounded like you said that she got murdered, so obviously that was not in the plan, right?
No.
To me that sounds like double devastation, right? Like this is my best friend and how she died, right? That is also very devastating. And then you lost a lot of significant people in your life, right? So it does sort of make sense that you would cling to a physical being, because it's like
Right.
all of my main figures are literally gone. And so you were looking for that external validation. But I'm glad that you were able to realize, like, wait a minute, hold on. I got me. Upon further review, I'm
Right.
here. And turns out I'm pretty cool,
Very.
Right. And it doesn't dismiss or mean that we don't need people, because we do. Right. We're relational beings. So everybody needs somebody. So we need friends, family, loved ones. But it is problematic if we put everything in them to the point that them not being there causes severe devastation for us. So I'm glad that you were able to at least realize, like, wait a minute, I got me. Because God only loans us
Yeah.
people. You know,
Come on.
Yeah.
Yep. Come
Yeah.
on.
There you go. There
literally,
you go.
Yep.
we're not entitled to anyone, and we feel entitled because we're like, well, that's my mom,
Yep.
that's my
Yeah.
dad, that's my sister, that's my best friend. But it's like, no, they really not. Like,
Yeah.
all of these people
Mm-mm.
really belong to God, and if He chooses to
Right.
call them home, or even just call them away from you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
He got the right to do that.
Mhm.
And
He
it is
does.
devastating. It can be devastating, but sometimes it is to show you that, that you have yourself and that you also have Him.
Yeah. Woo. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
That sure is it. So thank you for sharing that. So wow. So yeah, so that was your rock bottom. But now you're in this space. And what does healing look like for Yolanda right now?
Girl, it looks like what they say, the beautiful fields and the rainbows and the unicorns. Baby, I'm back at my old stage where I'm happy, I'm laughing and
Yes.
carrying on. I have my days where I want to punch somebody in the throat and all that. Uh, I don't even, it's not even a day. I don't even give up. You know how at the beginning I wanted to give up. Now I'm like, man, I'm gonna keep going. And I get home after, I'm gonna say one of them days at work. I get home and I have a swing outside in the backyard. Yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all you've seen it on Instagram. I have a swing in the backyard. I sit back there, and I don't know, something out there calling me to the swing every day, y'all. And I go back out. This is my peace right there in my backyard. And I go out there and I sit in my swing, and it's like nothing else matters but that's the area out there. And I get out there and I meditate, and I talk to the trees. I'm like one with nature. I talk to nature all the time, and God is like, everything is awesome. When I say everything is awesome, I couldn't even at one point I didn't have a relationship with God, and so now that relationship is, if you know me, you know how I talk. That's how I talk to God. So y'all, everything is beautiful. I love it, and like I said, it's beautiful struggle. Everything is like, it's like an eye opener. I see, I feel, I smell, everything. Just it's all my senses are there. It's gorgeous.
Yes, and that vibe
And
definitely translates to your show. So the episode that I was listening to, you were absolutely outside, and it was just like it sounded so peaceful. Like you could hear like the bugs and the birds in the background, and you was just so relaxed like this. And I could tell that was your peace being in that space.
I love outside. I love it.
Yes, yes, I love that, and I
You
love
couldn't pay
that.
you couldn't pay me to go outside a long time ago. I just it was either too hot, or they are too hot, too many bugs, the mosquitoes, it was just everything. Now can't go. I want to go outside. That when I come home from work, that's what I look forward to. Outside. I
Mm-hmm.
love it.
But that's your peace, and you said it
Mm-hmm.
perfectly. Like, this is where I feel at peace. This is comfortable for me, and I think we all need spaces like that where we feel peaceful, and this is where I come to get my harmony and to get centered and all of that. Everybody needs a space like that, so I'm glad you had that in your backyard space, because it definitely translates on your show when you do
I'm gonna
your
tell you how bad it is outside. I go to sleep on the swing. The kids come out there catching me on sleep. Yeah, it is. I love it. And they can call me old and country or whatever they want to call me. However, that's my peace. I come home. I look forward to coming home and sitting outside in the yard. It's I love outside. It's just me. And the healing is that's the healing to me. When I go sit outside and my thoughts, I leave them outside. It's like I read this email a long time ago, and I didn't get it, but it was a guy said that with his problems that he was having at work, all the stress that he was having at work, he would come home and he had a little tree that sit outside his front yard, and he would rub his problems on that tree. And that tree grew bigger and bigger and bigger. But one thing he never did was bring his problem inside. And that's what I used to do. And so now what I do is I go outside and I sit in that swing, and my problems are on that swing out there in my plants and out there in the trees. Because I know the trees could talk. The trees could talk. They'll tell people a lot of stuff. But I leave my problems out there before I come in this house. It's just like I used to sit in my car and leave my problems in my car before I come inside. So that's where my peace is right there. So I can sit outside, and that's the biggest part of my healing journey there, is sitting outside in my swing and talking my problems out. Or what I really gonna be talking about, y'all, it's there on my phone. And what is it? The voice, the it's a voice record on my phone. And it's there. That's where I started my podcast at, on my voice record. So that's my healing journey. That's my healing right there. Sitting outside and talking my issues out. If I had something going on that day, now I know how to work them out instead of holding them in and holding a grudge, being mad at someone, and it hurting me. I talk my problems outside. That's my healing journey. There, I get my stuff out. I know how to work it out. That's what healing looks like to me. You already know. You learn from the old struggles to bring in to you learn from the old struggles how to deal with the new struggles. And now it's like a lesson. What happened to me 20 years ago not going to happen to me now, because I know how to talk my problems out outside in peace, or just write them out on a piece of paper, or just to work them out by myself and not have somebody to just tell me, or to boost me up to, like a long time ago, they would boost you. You want to go fight them. No, I don't have that. I can go outside on my swing, write it in my diary. I mean, on my journal, or write it, or type it up on my phone, and or talk it on my record. On my phone. It's beautiful, y'all. I just love it all. It's so much fun.
Mhm. I'm
And I
glad
teach my
you
girls
found what
that.
works for you. Yeah, I'm glad that you found what works for you because, for some people it's journaling, it is the diary. For some people, it is just talking it out. And they say, how people be like, you be talking to yourself, and people be like, yeah, my mind, my emotions, we gotta have a conversation. We need to know what we doing. And half the
I
time, I
do that
think
every day.
listen, because when you talk it out, I think that it does give you more perspective, and sometimes you'll realize I'm mad at that person. I should really be mad at me,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I allowed it to happen. So
Yeah.
what am I going? Am I going to change?
Yeah. So
No.
we will actually be right back. We're going into our next break. So thank you for listening to Brunch of Besties, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to Virtual Bestie Show.
Hey guys.
So, Ilana,
Hello.
I'm wondering because when we started off the episode, we kind of talked about how people would tell you like, give it to God, forgive, do this, do that, and it's like, well, how do you do that? How would you tell someone to do that? Like, what is giving it to God? What does that look like for you now?
Um, I don't just well, okay, let me put it this way. I didn't understand what that means. Um, I didn't understand what that meant. Um, because it wasn't taught to me. It was always put it on the like well when I was going to church, it was like put it on the altar, um, tell God about your worries and He'll work them out. It don't work like that. Is it? I'm not sure what scripture it is faith without works is dead. So you got to work, and God gave you some senses, gave you a mind to try to figure out some stuff. Like me, first I had to start off with my healing journey with forgiveness. Okay, so if you got an issue or you got problems or whatever, you got to start working them out. If it's with a person, and if it's somebody that you could talk to, or if it's even if you can't talk to that person, there's a thing called forgiveness that you got to start doing with people. You got to start working from the first start. If you mad with that person, you need to work it out with that person. Not with that person. If that person don't exist anymore, I'm I'm trying to put it in ways. Well, let me say this. I worked out my issues by writing my issues out, and by um forgiving those that needed to be forgiven, and by and for forgiving myself, and if I could talk to that person, I would let that person know how I felt. Um, my dad was one, and my mom was one, and I can't talk to her, so I had to find a way to forgive her, and so I forgave her, but I wrote a letter to my mom, and it's in my phone. I can't give it to her, but I know it's there, and I had to let her know how I felt and why I hated her. And then it went to my dad, and I had to tell my dad what he did to me, and um, how I felt about him. And then my stepmama and so forth. Just people that's in my past that I knew I held a grudge for years. I had to take all of that, write all of that down, and work that out with myself. What I had to accept, like I told you before, I had to accept the fact what they done to me, and then I can't change it, so I had to accept it, and I had to deal with that for like years. I had to deal with the anger issues with my dad, my stepmom, my mom, and my grandmother, everybody, and I had to try to figure that out, how to work that out. And so when you start writing, you get all that out. And I take that paper or that whatever it was. I know I had some paper. I took all that and I balled it up, and I took a match and I lit it. And I said, all of this, let it go. Because if you keep holding on to that stuff, even when people say give it to God, I didn't understand. I still kind of don't understand, why would you just say, here, God, take my problems, and he gonna work his. God got a billion other people that he got to deal with. He can't just come and deal with your stuff. He got to deal with everybody else's. So God, like, baby, look, I tell you what, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hold your hand for a minute, but I need you to start dealing with these issues that you got, so you can move on. And so if you don't move on, if you don't work with those issues, if you don't deal with those issues, if you don't try to find a solution to those issues, you're gonna continue to hold those problems and worries in your head. Like people, like they would say, I'm a I still y'all, I'm telling you, I don't get a lot of stuff that I know. A lot of people go to church, and a lot of stuff that they do and say in church, I kind of didn't get it. But like they will say, well, this is one prime example. If your light bill is out, give it to God. He gonna take care of it. God gave you two legs, two hands, a whole body. He gave you a whole body to go out there and work with it. So you got to work to make that money to pay that bill. So you got to get out there and start forgiving those people that did you wrong. You got to start um, holding yourself accountable for the stuff that you did. You got to make it work in ways where you can forgive yourself, forgive those people, forgive everything that and just put it together and be like, look, let this shit go. You gotta let it go. You can't just hold on to that stuff. You can't just be like, I'm gonna give it to you, and thinking if you haven't forgiven that person, if you haven't forgiven yourself, you haven't held yourself accountable and hold those people accountable, then what you gonna do? You gonna continue to hold on to that grudge? You gonna still have that stuff in your spirit? You gonna still be angry? Your blood pressure gonna be up? You gonna have some type of depression, anxiety? You can't hold on to these. You gotta start letting that stuff go. And if you don't let it go, like I said, you're gonna be sick. And like when I say give it to God, I don't give it to Him anymore. I talk like, look, Lord, ain't no way you let that person do this to me, and ain't no way, that this is our conversation. I'm like, what's the deal? Well, look, and have y'all watched those TikToks? And that's the conversation we have, and it's like, well, look, let me tell you, I'm gonna show you what to do, and you got to do it. And if you don't do it, then you're gonna still stay in the same rut. And I was like, I guess. And you got to work things out. You can't just say, I'm gonna give it to God and walk on away from it, because it's still gonna be there. Your worries and your trauma, everything's gonna still be there. You gotta work with it. You gotta forgive. And when my grandma used to tell me forgive and forget, and how the hell am I supposed to forgive and forget? I can't forget this stuff. You're gonna ever forget it. You're not gonna get mad at it when they bring it up. When it comes up in your head, like um my dad was, the way he used to treat me. I would call him and he'd say, I'm coming Friday and Saturday to come get you. I said, okay. And here comes Saturday, Friday, and here comes Saturday. Daddy to come get me. When I call him crying, he'll tell me to my, life, that's not fair that you're crying. I'm a child. How is that not fair? And I held on to that for a long time. And now I'm like, he crazy. And I'm like, he did the best he could. That's why I say he did the best he could. And me and my dad had the best relationship. And I told him that what you used to do to me, they used to hurt me. But now, I have to accept it and move on. And so that's what I do now. I accept it and I move on. What else can you do? You can't do anything else. And if you don't accept it, you're going to still be going through the same stuff. You're still going to be mad.
That's it right there. If you don't accept it, you're going to be, because now you're not looking for him to come get you. Because now I know, right? I'm not depending on you to come get me because you're not dependable, right? I accept it.
Right.
We both know that that's what this is, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so I'm not going to keep trying to make you be something that you're not. Yep. So yeah, we are getting close to the end of the episode. So what are we taking away in our to-go box? I'll start with you, Chanel.
Yes, this was good. It's always nice talking to you, Miss Yolanda. But I'm definitely taking away that so a little bit of Robin too, the accountability piece. Like, what part of all of this do I play in it? What part do I play in my own healing journey, my own forgiveness, and all of those things? So I think that is what I'm going to take away today. We talked a little bit about that. Just, you can't hold on to it, but it's my responsibility to do something with it. So I'm going to take that away.
Alrighty, and Miss Yolanda, what are you taking away?
Y'all, I didn't say this, but it's kind of in there of the stuff I said I was depending on people. I stopped expecting people. And when I say stop expecting, I don't expect anybody to do anything for me. Because if I expect that, or if I look for that, the validation and all that, then and it don't happen the way I want it to happen, then I'm gonna be hurt. So so from now, it's like I don't depend on anything or anybody except for me and my happiness now. So that's where I take away from this whole thing. I depend on myself now, and it's I've never depended on myself until like 2 years ago. So y'all, depending on yourself and not depending on others will get you a long way.
All right. And Bestie, what are you taking away from today's episode?
That healing is literally a journey, right? That like you said before, you didn't just get traumatized all of a sudden, so you can't expect to just be healed all of a sudden. Like, it's a process. And I know we want to be done and we want to be finished and all of that. But the same effort and time that it took to get in it is going to take to get out. But ultimately, I'm taking away that it's beautiful if you choose to look at it in a way that allows you to evolve and grow. And also to just realizing what you just said about, like, depending on yourself for your own happiness, right? So it's like you put your joy and happiness in all these people, and the second that they couldn't be there, you fell apart. So it's about just understanding that nobody else is responsible for your happiness. You own that.
Right.
So what can I do, right, to help facilitate my own happiness, my own joy, my own peace? Other people can add to it, right?
Right.
But I am the foundation.
So they extra.
They extra.
They extra.
Yes.
I love that.
it.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Miss Yolanda. Tell the people where they can find Beautiful Struggle.
Yes.
Okay, you can find Beautiful Struggle on Spotify. But you can also Beautiful Struggle _79 on Instagram. And you can find my videos on Facebook, Yolanda Vornado. So and you can also, I'm sorry, TikTok. Yolanda, you add Yolanda Vornado 3.
Nice. That's what's up. So yes, make sure you follow Yolanda. Make sure you follow Beautiful Struggle to continue to get these words, these healing words.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties. Until next time,
Peace.
heal.
Okay. I like that, bestie. Heal.
Heal.
Who ended alert? Brr, 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 brr.
Heal.
Heal, y'all.